What is going on? Welcome to another Ed News Now. My name is EJ Carrion, and it's exciting to be your host. We had our first video in this series being posted the other day, and in the first day, we had 100 views. That, to me, deserves some claps. There were some comments, so we were able to talk and have some collaboration, which was cool. I think this next story and this next topic we're going to hit on today is something we could really relate on and all kind of connect with, and that is teacher debt. And should teachers get federal loan forgiveness in a more palatable way that cancels debt, that maybe is a profession that, hey, why should we have debt? We already have a hard time keeping teachers and people aspiring to stay in that path, because as a teacher, you have the biggest hearts in the world, and you make the decision to focus on kids knowing that your salary long term isn't going to grow really high. And so for amazing people like that who choose to be in the classroom because it's their passion, it's their skill, it's their purpose, we as a country got to do better. And the reason why I say that is recently in an article in Bloomberg that came out September 9th, it kind of just highlighted that by February, the moratorium will end where people did not where teachers and pretty much the country did not have to pay on student loans, and there was zero interest being accrued, so forth, through the pandemic. But an estimated 1 in 4 of the country's 8.1 million educators will start making payments on their roughly $105 billion in outstanding student loans once the moratorium ends. Now, what's crazy, right, is I think the other big piece here is that there's a federal forgiveness loan program that is available, but last year just 2% of the people qualified for the loan forgiveness program of the applicants who all applied to get access to help. And so this article I thought was helpful because it kind of shows a graph that I think is important, that shows important data. So let's go ahead and move to the article. Let's check out this graph and just kind of get some true context on how difficult and unfair it is to be a teacher in America and do the work you love to do. So you should be seeing the article. Let me go ahead and zoom in on my mouse. You should be seeing the article. And what you should see here is teacher drowning in debt, face U.S. moratorium ends with dread. So if we look here, if we go down here and we actually look here. All right, let's look here. Outstanding balance for teachers, right? The outstanding balance for teachers from pre-kindergarten to college education averaged $58,700 according to a July report from the National Education Association. Context, that's close to an annual salary of the average teacher. More than 1 in 8 owe more than $105,000, NEA data shows, jeopardizing their ability to build up savings. Check out this graph. Over 30% of educators have over $65,000 in debt, with the median salary being $62,870. I don't know what you think here, but I think that is difficult. This idea that we create an educational institution who then creates these credentials and certifications with the idea is the whole goal is to help people grow wealth, grow success, level up their family, their growth, building assets. Yet with the people who we need most in order to continue that narrative, even at the youngest of age, we tell them, hey, go get a higher education degree for 4 years and then get in debt at the amount of your salary. Now, I know there's a conversation around canceling student debt. And if you have student debt, you're probably on board like me and my wife is. But I think teachers are a no-brainer first place to start. We're already having a difficulty keeping a strong teacher pipeline. It's never been more difficult to be a teacher than what we go through today. How do we make it something that people see as a viable career path? And if we're going to have amazing people choose this path and understand that their upward financial mobility is going to be stagnant throughout their adult life, we got to treasure and cherish these people because they're important and they're doing something for the right reasons. Let's actually go to the other part here in this story that I think is important. So the reason why only 2% are deemed eligible for forgiveness, according to the data from the Department of Ed, is that the program requires 120 months of qualifying payments, 10 years of consistent payments on time. You can't miss. And so that is 10 years of perfection. And so of last year, between November 9th, 2020 and April 30th of this year, there was 168,000 applications and only 3,458 were approved. Now, that's difficult. And I think why it's also difficult is because when you look at the racial breakdown of debt, Black teachers are more likely to have student debt. But honestly, it's pretty 1 to 2 regardless of race. And then also it hits younger teachers the most because the inflation of college has been really seen in the last 10 to 15 years. And when you see that and having these young people who have these bills showing up in their lives, then also we see the cost of living and housing and things like that. This life cycle of 10 years is difficult. And also, like, if you end up, let's say you're a teacher for 8 years and then maybe something happens to in your life where you need to stay home or change careers, you then are still not qualified for any kind of access to that for loan forgiveness. And so I think that's difficult. Let me go ahead and get back to my screen as we're done. I think that is difficult and something that I think, hey, why should teachers have to have student debt the size of their salary? And what is your thoughts? Like, why shouldn't we allow people who choose to be teachers to be able to get their credential debt free? I mean, that seems like if there's any place we can agree on is that. We'd love to know your thoughts, and thank you for watching Ed News Now.